Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I know this is overused, but bombshell, explosive news to share with you guys today. The shit is really hitting the fan. It's hitting the Trump-Epstein cover-up fan. Not only has Trump's attorney general been caught in a flat-out lie, but a Justice Department employee admitted on camera recently that Trump is planning to protect Republicans and that he transferred Ghislaine Maxwell to that what they call a puppy prison to keep her quiet. And then it gets even worse. There is even bigger news than that, because one of Donald Trump's cabinet members recently made a kind of covert threat towards a Democratic senator who's trying to expose Epstein's co-conspirators. So they're not just covering things up. They're not just refusing to do anything about this Epstein thing and the case. They're actively trying to suppress this story from getting out and from anyone else getting to the truth of the matter and exposing who all took place in this trafficking ring. It's beyond disturbing. Before I get into all these details, though, and all this breaking news, please do me a big favor. Click the subscribe button below this video. It is free. It really, really helps the show, so I greatly appreciate it. So here's what's going down. Here's what broke over the last 24 hours or so, and let me remove this banner. On Wednesday, a Senate committee released a list of 58 potential co-conspirators of pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. A Trump official is now threatening to investigate the lead Democrat on that committee. So take a look at this. Ron Wyden, who I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, he is the ranking Democrat. He's the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee. In addition to releasing this list, he requested that the Treasury Department hand over all suspicious banking records. So Wyden is asking for records tied to various billionaires, different banks, like all the ones we know about. Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, like a ton of them. Shell companies as well that have been established by Jeffrey Epstein. And what these all have in common is that they had either transferred funds to Epstein or they had been transferring money on behalf of Epstein. So, the bank's taking the money in. Because, as you guys might recall, Wyden had identified that there were more than 4,700 wire transfers sent to Jeffrey Epstein between the years 2003 and 2019. I don't know why he chose those numbers, because a lot of what Epstein supposedly did took place in the 90s, but those are the years. All totaled, these transfers equal over $1 billion. So Trump's Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, let me remove this for you guys. He was recently asked about this. He was at a conservative event and somebody in the audience stood up and they asked him about these wire transfers, this 4,700 that went to Epstein, and, what are you guys doing about this? Rather than saying, oh yeah, that's concerning, we're going to look into it, rather than committing to trying to get to the bottom of this and exposing all of these child predators, Bessent, he first deflects, as you're going to hear, because I'm going to play the clip for you. He deflects, he blames Biden, he blames the Biden administration for not doing anything, and then he makes this veiled threat towards Senator Wyden. So check this out. Sorry, I got to turn on my volume. Oop, if I can find it here.
Justice Department could have come in at any time. Senator Wyden, I will say it here now, I can promise you, Senator Wyden's rich. Senator Wyden, somehow his stock trading account, Senator Wyden trades better than Paul Pelosi. He was up 125% and then 75%. I'm not going to disclose anything because I've never looked, but I would guess there's some stars on Senator Wyden.
I have so many thoughts. I don't know if you guys caught what he said there at the end. He said something to the effect of, there's probably some SARS reports on Senator Wyden. For those who aren't familiar with that term, SARS, S-A-R-S, it stands for Suspicious Activity Report. And then I don't know what the last S is. Anyway, those are reports that the Treasury Department issues anytime they see large sums of money that are transferred. You guys may have heard, people say, don't transfer or deposit or withdraw more than $10,000 at one time. Otherwise, it triggers the Treasury Department. They're notified, blah, blah, blah. So it's something like that. They also, I believe, if there's like transfers involving suspicious accounts or certain people, they get notifications. First of all, Besant, his income and his overall wealth dwarfs that of Senator Ron Wyden. You guys all know how I feel about insider trading and the stock trading with Congress. I'm 100% against it. I think that it should be banned. So I'm not here trying to make excuses or defend Wyden. If he is doing, stock trading as a senator, absolutely appalling. I'm 100% against it. But Besant does not have any room to talk. The guy is stinking, filthy rich. But on top of that, if you notice there, he didn't even answer the question. He never confirmed that he's actually going to hand over all of these requested documents. Instead, he went on to say, anybody who wants to come look at them, they can come look at them, and then gives the impression, kind of insinuates, Wyden could face some scrutiny over his stock trades. What an odd thing to say, isn't that? I mean, this administration claimed that they wanted all of this stuff exposed. They wanted all of the Epstein co-conspirators exposed because they said it's all Democrats. Really? So, I guess MAGA, now they need to ask themselves, is Donald Trump protecting guilty Democrats? Is he protecting predators that are Democrats? Why would he be doing that? Yeah. And then I have more eyebrow-raising news for you guys. This also broke on Wednesday. An undercover journalist who works with James O'Keefe went on a couple of dates with a man who works at the Department of Justice. On these dates, he told her, which she recorded, very interesting things about the Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell case. So take a look at this.
The administration, there's internal conflict.
Okay.
Like the head of FBI really wants it. Second in command at FBI has been causing problems because he's like, no, these have to be released.
Yeah. So the FBI wants them out.
Yep, the top two guys that do it.
And Bondi does it.
I don't know what Bondi wants. Bondi wants whatever John wants.
Sure.
She's super desperate.
Do you think the stuff with Epstein will actually get released or not at all?
If it does, it'll be heavily redacted and his name won't be in it.
But those files do exist.
There's files.
Yeah.
For sure. There's thousands and thousands of pages of files. But again, if they're released in any way, it's going to be very redacted. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, democratic people in those files, and have a very slanted version of it come out where it's like, look at what he's doing without releasing any of their bad behavior.
Sure. Is it that Maxwell person?
Yeah.
And also involved?
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. And they're not supposed to get minimum security prisons, which is an interesting detail because she's getting a benefit, which means they're offering her something to keep it on shut.
Yeah, nothing we didn't already know. And for those of you on the podcast, the man that was speaking there, his name is Joseph Schnitt. He is the Special Operations Unit Acting Deputy Chief at the Justice Department. So this isn't just some low-level nobody, right? So he probably knows something, probably even if he's just hearing it through the rumor mill. And he's saying this is a cover-up. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with James O'Keefe, or even if you are, and Project Veritas, he's not the most legitimate source, right? He's not the most solid source of news and journalist. He has been caught numerous times. He's fabricated details. He selectively edits videos to try to mislead people, but he has had some decent finds. Like, he was the one who got Pam Bondi on to admit to a total stranger in a restaurant. Someone approached her in a restaurant, and she admitted on this video that, yeah, we have, thousands and thousands of Epstein files. So this DOJ official issued a statement, and it basically confirms what you guys just saw and heard. So this appears to be very legitimate. What James O'Keefe is putting out here seems to be very legitimate. It's very obvious, too, that the Justice Department is doing a CYA. They're trying to do damage control, because they posted an official statement from this man, this Schnitt guy, on their official Twitter account. So I'm going to show it to you guys, and I'll read it for those of you on the podcast. So it says, I met a woman named Skylar on Hinge, a dating app, in July 2025. Her profile is no longer findable. We had 2 dates, August 4 and August 16. She claimed to be an au pair in Georgetown. She gave no clues that she was a reporter or recording our dates. Had I a clue, the first date would have ended immediately, and there never would have been a second one. My profile indicated I did government work, but did not specify for which agency. I never discussed what I do at the DOJ. The comments I made were my own personal comments on what I've learned in the media, and not from anything I've done at or learned via work. I have no knowledge of the circumstances surrounding Ms. Maxwell other than what is reported in the news. I also never divulged anything about what I do at work. I recall that she asked if I had any knowledge about Maxwell, and I specifically said I only know what's been reported in the media. So here's the thing. I don't know if this man is speaking from personal knowledge, if he's just, talking out of his ass, and from what he's heard in the media, if what he's saying here is true. But if this statement was in video form, I would say it looks and sounds like a hostage video, right? I mean, and the fact that the DOJ published this, it shows that they are running scared. They know that this Epstein cover-up is just blowing up in their faces. And what makes this even more troubling is the fact that Donald Trump's attorney general was just caught in another bald-faced lie and directly tied to the Epstein case. So we all know, I mean, we've known from day one that Pam Bondi is a lying piece of trash, right? She covered for Trump before. She took that $25,000 from him down in Florida and looked the other way when he was ripping off his students, quote unquote, at Trump University. Well, we now have even more concrete evidence, because the Guardian news outlet reported that the missing minute of Jeffrey Epstein prison footage, that was just found among the 33,000 files that Congress dumped on the public on Tuesday. So let me bring this up for you guys. So you might recall there was at least 1 minute that disappeared from the video when Bondi released it to the public. It was right at the end of the video. You saw the timer in the corner jump, and 1 whole minute was cut out. Well, she claimed that the videos in the prisons reset every day at midnight. And so every video, any prison video you look at, it's going to have this same missing minute. That was a complete and total load of bullshit. Unfortunately, now that it's been found and people have reviewed it, it doesn't show anything suspicious happening. So why does she lie? Right? This just shows you when they don't have an answer to a question, they just make shit up. They just lie. If they're willing to lie and make up a story about a missing minute of video when it shows nothing incriminating, nothing going wrong, nobody there, sneaking into Epstein's cell block, what else are they lying about? What else are they willing to say to cover this up? And then check out what a member of Congress had to say. This was after, I think this was on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. It was after the holiday. You guys might remember Congress had met with a bunch of the Epstein victims who were in DC. They met behind closed doors and they heard all of their stories. And, some other stuff came out in this meeting from the government. So this is the response from one of the lawmakers who was present in that meeting with the Epstein victims. Take a listen.
Notable that even in our discussions with the victims yesterday, we were told that many of them have never even seen their own FBI files, and we're told that they were being withheld by the federal government because of national interest. So it's clear that the federal government at the highest levels for decades has been conducting a cover-up of what actually happened in this case and the people who were involved in it.
So do you trust Bondi and the DOJ to be transparent about what they're putting out there?
I mean, not only do I not trust them to be transparent, they are actively involved in a cover-up right now.
Think about that, guys. These Epstein victims can't even see their own files. And the government is using the excuse that, it's because of national interests. What national interests? I mean, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Think about it, they're claiming now that, Epstein was working alone, there were no co-conspirators, he's not working for intelligence, this was just him looking at, videos of children doing horrific things with adults, and that's all it was. And so nothing more to see here. We're done. Case closed. We're moving on. If that's true, then what the hell does that have to do with our national interests? If Epstein was truly working alone, as they claim, then what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with our U.S. national interest? Why can't these women see those files? They know what happened to them. At least for some of them. One of them the other day said that she's blocked some of it out. And her therapist said, it's her brain trying to protect her. But you can't show the victim their own file about their own lived experience. So this is a massive, massive cover-up. It is so obvious that Trump is either guilty as sin or he is protecting a bunch of other people who are. And I think we all know. And there's a third option that it's, both of the above, that it's A and B. So anyway, guys, I will let you know when I hear more because that this stuff is going to keep coming out. This is not going to be dropped. I mean, these victims aren't going to drop it. Like I said the other day, they're compiling their own list. Stuff is going to keep coming out. Someone is going to break eventually. Someone, somewhere in this administration, I have hope they will have a conscience still. That there will be someone who honestly does have morals, who does have ethics, and is a principled person and an honest person, and they will step forward. And I don't think it's going to be anybody that we know or have heard of already, because, the ones that we know are complete scum of the earth and devoid of any human experience and compassion or empathy or principles in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's going to be somebody that we've never heard of before. But I think someone is going to be the John Dean or, any of the famous whistleblowers throughout history. I just have a feeling. Anyway, like I said, I'll let you know. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.